Hey everybody, are you ready for a story? Once upon a time, hidden deep in a sunlit valley, where golden grasses swayed like waves and daisies grew taller than trees, there was the magical village of Moolonia. This was home to a cheerful and clever race of miniature people called the Minari. They were kind-hearted and gentle, with a love for nature that ran deep in their souls. But they weren't alone. The Minari lived in harmony with giant cattle that towered over them like mountains. To the Minari, these magnificent creatures were not just animals, but companions, friends, almost like family. The cattle were gentle giants with eyes like moons and hooves like rolling boulders. Just imagine seeing a full moon shining brightly between the ears of an enormous beast as it lowers its head to help you with your work. The cattle were large, but they were also incredibly patient and kind. They would spend hours helping the Minari families with their daily tasks. They helped plow their tiny fields, carried their leaf carts, and even guarded their cozy mushroom houses with their massive The Minari children would often play between the ears of the giant cattle as they walked. What an exciting adventure it must have been to ride between the giant's ears, feeling the soft fur and hearing the gentle sounds of their breathing. For the Minari, life was a delightful mix of hard work and simple joy. Their days were filled with tending to their crops, gathering materials for their homes, and playing with their animal friends. In return, the cattle received the Minari's love, respect, and care. The bond between the two species was unbreakable. It was a beautiful sight to behold. The village of Moolonia was as charming as its inhabitants. The Minari had built their homes from natural materials such as hollow acorns, buttercup petals, and polished snail shells. The houses were tiny, yet cozy and filled with warmth and laughter. Winding past the pebble-stone curve between the gardens, which were filled with glowing mushrooms, sparkling dewdrops, and fluttering butterflies. The air was sweet with the scent of wildflowers, and the sound of running water filled the air as it flowed through tiny bamboo pipes from a nearby stream. It sparkled under the sun like liquid diamond. Life in Moolonia was idyllic, peaceful, and full of wonder. The Minari and their cattle friends lived in perfect harmony with nature. But their peaceful existence was not to last. One morning, the sky turned gray. The wind howled like a hungry wolf through the tall grass. Thunder grumbled like a giant drum, and the first drops of rain fell from the sky. A terrible storm was coming. The Minari were small, but they were quick and clever. They rushed to gather what they could before the storm arrived. Some gathered dry leaves and sturdy branches to reinforce their homes, while others hurried to bring their crops indoors. But their tiny hands could only do so much. Then came a deep rumbling sound. Not thunder, but Mora, the village's oldest and wisest cow, calling out. All the giant cattle came at once, responding to her call. They quickly formed a circle around the village, each one positioning themselves close to the others. Then they began to lower their heads, forming a living wall of bodies around the village to block the wind and rain. The Minari watched in awe and gratitude as the cattle sacrificed their own comfort to protect them from the storm. Inside the living wall, the Minari huddled together, dry and safe. Some sang songs to calm the younger ones, while the cattle stood firm through the storm, their deep breaths like a soft lullaby. Finally, the storm began to weaken. The rain slowed to a gentle patter and the wind sighed like a tired beast. When the storm finally passed, the Minari emerged from their homes, blinking in the bright sunshine. The sky was cleared again, the birds were singing, and a rainbow arched across the horizon. The Minari cheered, their hearts filled with gratitude and joy. They thanked the cattle for their bravery and support during the storm. The cattle, in turn, nuzzled their tiny friends, their eyes full of kindness and affection. The Minari celebrated with honey cakes, singing and decorated their horned helmets with flowers and glowing beads. They danced and sang throughout the night, their laughter echoing through the valley. The cattle joined in the celebration, moving in slow circles to the music. The Minari rode on their backs, playing leaf flutes and pedaled. Even the fireflies joined in, lighting up the sky with their glowing bodies like stars come down to earth. And so the legend of Moolonia spread through the land, carried by the wind, birds, and whispered by butterflies. The tale of a tiny people and their mighty friends who lived together, not in fear, but in love, loyalty, and laughter. For in the hidden valley of Moolonia, the grass still dances in the breeze. The giant cattle still walk gently among the hills, and the Manaris still live in joy, forever small, but never powerless. And that's the end of our story today. Do you have a favorite character? If you enjoyed this enchanting tale, don't forget to stay tuned for more magical stories just like this one. Thank you for watching, and until next time, may your days be filled with sunshine and your heart with joy.